What's up, everybody? This is Dustin Coyle coming at you live as a motherfucker on, what's today? August 22nd, 2017. And you are listening to episode 40 of Intelligent Thoughts, the big 4-0. We're going to do an MLB podcast today with my good friend, Billy Broderick. He's a longtime baseball fan. Let's see, how old are you, Billy?
64. So, almost turning 65.
Do you remember when you, what's your first baseball experience that you can remember?
Being about 5 years old and going to Wrigley Field with my grandparents and my parents. Didn't know that much about it, just knew that it was fun. There was all kinds of Coca-Cola and hot dogs and whatnot. But pretty much from that point on, I started playing. My dad was a baseball major, played college baseball.
Nice.
And that's how he got a scholarship to Colgate University, and because of that, he had us throwing and hitting little bats from the time we turned about 5.
Nice.
And then my brother's in the wings. So yeah, from that point on, by 7, I was buying baseball cards, watching standings.
Cubs fan?
A lifelong Cub fan in Chicago, Illinois.
So who was the shit, like, for the Cubs? Who were the players, you were, when you first remember watching baseball?
Well, as a lot of you out there would know, there was the famous, fabulous Ernie Banks and a guy named Billy Williams, who were 2 Hall of Fame Cubbers. Great pitcher named Larry Jackson, who actually lived in Boise, Idaho at one time, toward the end of his career and afterwards. But, the Cubs were losers, but everybody liked on them during the 60s. They had a bunch of good players. But there was no divisions then. There was only 2 leagues, and only one team went to the World Series. There was no playoffs.
There was no playoffs, huh?
Yeah. So in those days,
you won the pennant and you were in.
You won the pennant and you were in. So the Cubs would come in third a lot out of 8 or 10 teams, but the Cubs were just, they couldn't do much when I was a kid. And then we know how that has gone.
Yeah,
we know how that has gone for a number of years until last fall.
Yeah, the lovable losers finally, the tide turned. And
finally the tide turned. And as you all know, you know all the players that everybody knows.
Yeah.
The modern ones, just from that year, you'll remember.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Rizzo and Bryant.
Bryant won the MVP last year. Obviously, Rizzo was probably the big home run hitter.
Rookies playing out of their minds.
Yeah.
Baez.
Addison Russell.
Yeah.
Javi Baez played great in the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
And the great thing about the Cubs, too, last year, excuse me, is it's not like it was just it wasn't, they won like 112 games, and then they also won the World Series, so it wasn't like how we were talking about the other day, how the Mariners in 01 won 116 games, but they didn't win the World Series.
They didn't even win the first series against the Yankees. And that was the cold thing, because it was always the Yankees that they wanted to get to play in an actual playoff.
Yeah.
No. So, yes. And also, who else? When did the Yankees get their 116 games? Wasn't that?
I think it was like 98 or something like that. Like just a few years before that. It was like when Derek Jeter was just a few years in, and they had.
You're right.
Like Kevin Brown, they had. I don't remember that too well.
That's even when they still had guys
Tito
like
Martinez.
Tino Martinez, who of course was the Mariner killer.
Yeah.
Actually, too. And then after all the years that he was a Mariner, he turns around and he's the guy that. Personally, I think he could have been the MVP of that series between the Mariners and the Yankees when the Mariners went, whoa, best team in the American League anyway, or in baseball by record.
Yeah, and that team was sort of a fluke, though. Honestly, a team like the '98 Yankees makes a lot more sense as far as a real championship contender. Although, I think was Randy Johnson still pitching for the Mariners during that year? I don't know. So they had a pretty good pitching staff.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Think. Yeah, because Randy Johnson then, after that...
Obviously a legend.
After that, let's see. I'm ignoring that. That's my brother.
Yeah, I get you.
Asking me questions that have nothing to do with baseball. So sorry about that, Bo. But yeah, both my brothers were influential too. My younger brothers, we just got into baseball like crazy guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Favorite
saved
sport growing
baseball
up?
cards. That was my favorite sport. We played football. We had a basket. We played basketball. We loved them all. And we lived in Chicago, so we played hockey, but baseball was king.
Yeah.
And my dad was good. He played fast pitch softball while we were boys, so we got to go watch him play, and then he'd manage our teams and stuff and say, "You guys got the talent. I gave it to you," So he wasn't overbearing, but he wanted to see, like any dad, he wanted us to be pretty good. And I'd say both my younger brothers turned out to be really good hitters.
Really?
But again, everybody has their teams because they were never as much a Cub fans as I was.
Yeah.
And they would root for the White Sox just to piss me off because I was a Yankee fan also, which my father was and my grandfather were. So.
Nice.
So it's that time of year, right?
It is about that time.
We gotta be talking about the Dodgers, probably.
We do. We're about 39 games left in the. Let's bring this up. 39 games left in the regular season. The Dodgers, I think, have 88 wins.
Yes, 88 and 35,
88
a
and
20
35.
and a half game lead over the Colorado Rockies, who nonetheless are one of the other better teams in the National League.
Yeah. This is one of the most incredible performances from any team. I mean, even better than the Cubs last year, which was almost a historic record-setting year as well.
They had quite a streak where they lost and looked human right before the All-Star break, and then from the All-Star break on.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could have been the team was projecting the one. Nobody projected them to break the record, but yet they got so solid at the end, they ended up closer than they even probably tried.
Well, that's even how LA is this year. They weren't going in. They weren't the favorite going in. The Cubs were a pretty heavy favorite going into the league or into the season. No. And even after 40 games, I think they were 20 and 20 or something like that. Okay. But then they had that streak where they went 27 and 3. They won however many 13 straight, and they went 9 straight, and then they went 8 straight and all that.
I heard the other day on TV when they were playing Saturday, I believe they had won, 53 games out of the last 60. They were 43 and 7. 43. Oh yeah, they were the first team in. Out of 60, they were 53 and 7, which nobody's ever.
Yeah, that was the best of all time, I believe.
Nobody's ever in 60 games had won that many.
And they do have.
I mean, because you'd think 50 and 10 would be pretty good out of 60 games. Yeah. You do that twice a year, and you're already won your whole deal.
Oh yeah, baseball's a tough game to. The thing is, they have no holes in their lineup. When Puig is their worst player, and he consistently hits home runs and stuff like that.
That's a very good point. You said that Puig has been overtaken by Turner, Bellinger. All the other, and especially Corey Seager, because
he's basically the face of the team at this point.
And they got another rookie doing good too. What's that? And then Adrian Gonzalez. I don't know. I guess he's just he's one of the best fielders. That kind of goes with their good pitching.
We'll look at their roster real quick and check it out.
Yeah. But it's amazing to look at this. The Giants, as of today, the San Francisco Giants, who again were the team the Cubs had to beat to get to LA last year, are 39 games behind.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, that's how amazing it is how many games the Dodgers have won.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I've even seen a record of 88 and 35. That's a ridiculous number.
I know. It's they're also, no team had gone more than 55 games over 500. Let's see what that was again. That's exactly... Yes, it's exactly 53 games over 500. Right there that no team had ever been 50 over.
Really?
Somebody been close. That's what.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think. Yeah, that was one of the other points they were making on the broadcast the other day about I haven't seen them lose. Every time I watch them on TV, they win every time.
Yeah, they win every time. And it's they'll be coming back to win.
Yeah.
Dominating performances.
Well, how about this? Cubs have only won 66. The Rockies, again, are a better team than the Cubs, who are in first place in the Central.
And they're still 20 and a half back.
And the Nationals, with a ton of injuries, with all their outfielders have been injured, they still are really a 74 and 48 record, and they're 14 ahead and 29 ahead of the Phillies, who are in last place. So they're
The Nationals are having a great season.
Yeah, and if you remember last year, the Nationals and the Dodgers had quite a good playoff series.
Well, the Nationals got great pitching. That's the thing. And you know, what's even crazier about LA right now is they haven't had Clayton Kershaw in like 2 months.
Well, that's also amazing because what's with the... I didn't even think... Rich Hill, I watched him in the early season, and I thought, this guy's got holes.
Oh, he does.
He's not going to... And then, sure enough, I don't know, he's got to be winning.
He does.
Because they never lose or whatever, so maybe the bullpen wins those games, but then they trade for Darvish, right?
Well, they do have Darvish.
And then they do have,
So, I mean, Rich Hill's a third, you know, and then let's see what they got here.
No, they still have one.
Where's their starters? Kenta Maeda.
I forgot about him.
I know, he's pitching well. He got the win, I think, 2 days ago. Alex Wood. I think he's a rookie.
Oh, okay, that's the guy.
He's the guy that is doing. He's on the 10-day DL. They just put him on today.
So can they win?
I don't know.
Can they win those games? Say what you said before about they need to win 29
and 10 in order to break the record and win 117 games this season. They have to go 29 and 10 over the remaining 39 games, including today's game. In order to do so, that's a tough streak.
No, that really is. That is.
You know, that's obviously going to be bad. And then I saw that they might be putting Bellinger on the DL as well. 10 days or something like that.
This is where it'll all come down, man.
I'd have to say they're probably not going to do it.
No,
they're probably going to win 112 or 113.
But they are 20 games ahead of the second place team, so they're going to win the division unless they lose more than 20.
Oh, man. They're going to win the division anyway. Looks like Colorado and Arizona have actually been losing a little bit.
They have.
I was looking, the Cubs are only... remember how we were talking about the wild card? The Central team isn't actually that far behind them in the wild card.
Oh, because I keep saying or thinking to myself, as a Cub fan, that I thought that they had to win that division or they might not be able to count on the chance. But that's just the same as if both Colorado and Arizona do still, do it a 3 wins to 1 loss pace. Right. And still narrowly, so the Cubs or the Cardinals or the Brewers don't want to kind of rely on that. Well, they know they got to win that division.
Oh yeah. Well, right now Milwaukee's just 3.5 behind Arizona for the last spot in the wild card, and yesterday they were only 2.5 back. So, I mean, they definitely could be able to pull that through in some way.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be terribly surprising. Honestly, though, you got to think that Milwaukee. No offense to them. They're not as good of a team as Arizona or Colorado. Colorado is a great hitting team. They have, 5. We're talking about Arenado or LeMahieu or Charlie Blackmon. Yeah, I mean they're a great hitting team, and
those guys,
Milwaukee is pretty thin as far as that. And as far as
it was St. Louis that just had a big winning streak, and that's kind of I think they have problems with injuries too.
Oh, I agree. And Dexter Fowler, I don't know how he got hot when
he got hot,
but that's not how he normally plays.
No, he's had an off year.
Yeah,
and the Cubs are still kind of wishing because he could have done as good for them as they've kind of had in their leadoff position this year, but they didn't know Schwarber would not adjust to it. But no, what you said about those two, the Diamondbacks and Rockies, they pretty much, unless they blow it themselves, they could easily both be into that chance with the wild card, but then their chances really fall because you got 2 solid teams with the Nationals and the Dodgers.
Yeah, and both those teams can pitch.
And if the Cubs win the Central, you're going to really look at it like, good luck getting by any of those 3.
I don't think either of those teams. So they'll have to play each other as the wild card teams to be able to play probably the Cubs.
Exactly.
Or no, it would be.
They have to
play the Dodgers, right?
Probably, and then the Cubs would have to play the Washington too. So they'd have to have a hell of a series.
But no matter what, they wouldn't be favored against any of those teams just because of the pitching. Like, you know how the playoffs.
Yep.
It tightens up all of a sudden.
It really tightens up.
People pitch on 3 days rest. You only really need 3.
Well, that's why I was going to say. So the Giants really almost spoiled it for the Cubs last year. And then what happened? I thought the Nationals should have beat the Dodgers. So I'm thinking no problem for the Cubs with the Dodgers. They ended up, I believe it was a 7-game series. Yeah. And I believe they just... they did it, like you said, win your 112 games and go into that championship, go into the World Series. But they did it. But boy, what a scary series if you're a Cubs fan hoping for that first time because the Dodgers. So I was going to say what you mentioned before. everybody still favored the Cubs. But I had a feeling that since the Dodgers have been good at the beginning of the year this year, I thought to myself, ooh, if that team